All right. So first and foremost, I just want to thank God for everything, for waking me up this morning, for breathing, for living, for everything that He's provided me with. With that said, we're going to get into this tank situation, and we have a new fan base that they really buy into the hype, and they really believe, the boardroom nonsense that goes on with fighters and boxing in general today. Under the right circumstances, under the right matchmaking, Tank is a solid fighter. The era that I grew up in, I'd be very hard pressed to claim that Tank Davis is a B-level fighter. When you watch fights such as the Isaac Cruz fight, he really struggled in that fight. I don't believe the hand injury. Caleb Plant, all these fighters, they always break their hands when they have bad performances. Isaac Cruz wasn't even that top ranked of a fighter. You know what I'm saying? He was just a live opponent who was hungry, who was actually out there to actually win. If you notice him particularly, PBC, they try to avoid those types of guys. It's always opportunistic matchmaking when the low-hanging fruit is ripe for picking with their fighters. When I see a fight like Isaac Cruz and Tank Davis, it lets me know everything that I need to know about that fighter. When I look at the matchmaking and I look at the extremes that they go to, when they do set up these fights, again, you're just dealing with another boardroom fighter who's in the boardroom. They tell him how he's going to present himself. They tell him what he can talk about. He has no real creative say in his own career. They're really just milking the guy. People, they continue to buy into this nonsense that boxing pushes. There's a reason why fighters such as Jake Paul are even more successful than, I guess, the face of boxing, Tank Davis, I guess, which is what he is now. Boxing's been doing this fake it till you make it for the longest time, and Tank is no exception. Whenever you see them bring up names such as Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson, the first thing you always hear, it's the same stuff they pull with Terrence Crawford and Spence. It's not going to make money and all this other stuff. It doesn't make business sense, but they'll go and fight a no-name, throw it on pay-per-view and act like that, those numbers did well. I don't know nothing about the pay-per-view numbers for this Garcia fight. For me, both Garcia and Tank Davis are boardroom fighters. They're protected and things like that. They've never really been thrown into the fire unless you want to consider a fight like Campbell, for example, a guy who maybe beat one top 10 ranked opponent in his entire career. You know what I'm saying? And earned participation awards, which have been his biggest accomplishments. But again, I've talked about guys like Campbell before. He lost to Mindy, who again was a borderline top 10 opponent when they fought each other. He waited a couple years for Mindy to get a little bit older, then he got his revenge. That's like his best win in his whole entire career. Boxing, it's fake it till you make it. It's a joke at this point, and people, they just keep falling for the same trick over and over again. They tell you that this guy's a star. They come out with a product where, they're allowed to basically put Tank in these, again, carefully selected matches against an opponent that he's supposed to mop, and then we act like he's the best thing. I'll tell you, it's just the same old thing that they do for all these fighters today. It's all about smoke and mirrors and matchmaking in today's sport of boxing. I'm going to give you an example. Guys like Oscar De La Hoya, he fought everybody when they were in their prime. He did fight some old fighters, as he was coming up or whatnot. Ike Corte and some others, and that's how you're supposed to build up your guys early on. But after that phase of his career, he did fight everybody in their prime. He didn't duck nobody, guys. And even in all his losses, he still made more money than any of these guys today. Even his fights against guys like Steve Forbes on premium cable channel HBO garnered about 4 to 6 million views, and that's on premium cable, not network television. with lead-ins from like college football or something else, or even the NFL itself, helping to assist these fighters' viewership today, and they still don't put up those numbers. They'll probably at best put up around 2 million views on network television, which is pretty sad. But this is just the current state of boxing. I'm an old head. My era is done. I've accepted it for a while now, and it's just something, when I even care to commentate on it, it's just something that I've grown more comfortable with in accepting, that this is just not boxing anymore. It's more of a sideshow, and the results produce sideshow results. I don't know, again, what this pay-per-view did. It's a different world today. People value clout and buzz more than they do actual results. We see this in the entertainment field, where they lie about this movie making this much money or something else. This fake it till you make it revenue crap, everybody does it today, and PBC is no exception, and boxing in general is no exception. This is even with companies like DAZN. They don't make as much money as they claim. They don't get as much viewership as they claim. They hype up stuff and give you word salads when they're explaining this stuff. I don't think Tank is a star. I don't think Tank is even on the level of a Jake Paul, to be quite honest with you. I think Jake Paul, just off his YouTube channel alone, take away the boxing that he's doing, he makes more money than a lot of these fighters today. What's sad in today's society is you have YouTubers like Mr. Beast that make more money than these supposed superstars in boxing. You can include those Errol Spences and whoever else they try to hype up, Deontay Wilders. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty sad. Boxing content, you'll see that a lot of these channels don't even have like as many subscribers as like just professional video gamers like streamers do, which is sad again. Like boxing, again, you're not a mainstream part of society, especially here in America today, and other parts of the world where they're not so what's the word, crowded with like professional sports such as American football, basketball, even golf, tennis. You know what I'm saying? Their fighters get more attention because they just don't have as many distractions, and they actually support their countrymen more than here in the United States. And that kind of makes me a hypocrite because I'm kind of talking bad about Tank, but I never buy into the hype on any of these fighters. On this channel, we consistently kept it a buck, and I'm telling you, if Tank Davis or Ryan Garcia fought in just the early 2000s, they would not make it. You understand? It's too pampering, today's atmosphere of boxing, and they do everything. Fighters are divas before they even earn belts or anything. They make belts for every fight. You have so many belts. Anyone can be a champ today. They'll elevate a champ just to hype up another guy. They're typically the sacrificial lamb. We'll give you an example like Ugas, when they emailed him a belt just so that they could make Errol Spence a 3-belt champion. You understand? It's a very delicate house of cards, and like I said, smoke and mirrors in today's sport of boxing. Again, when a real one wants to fight Tank, the first thing you're going to hear Ellerby and these guys say, it's the excuse that they all make. Oh, it's not going to make money. Tank is a star and this and that and all this other nonsense. I see that a lot of people, you know, boxing has to do what it has to do, and I see that a lot of fans, especially with boxing content, have to talk about what they need to talk about. You know what I'm saying? It's just the state, and it's just the nature of the beast right now. But Tank Davis, again, in any other era, you're not even a B-level fighter. Again, you can tell that just from the Isaac Cruz fight. There have been some other fights that I've seen where my eyebrows are raised, and I'm like, okay, this guy's just a product of matchmaking, which is what the majority of boxers are today. None of these guys want to be real. You know what I'm saying? We make fun of Oscar De La Hoya and his fishnets and all that, but that dude had bigger balls than basically all the fighters today. You have guys like Anthony Joshua. You can say what you want. They do fight everybody. They fight all the top guys. For today's standard of quality, you know, a fighter like that, they do what they have to do. You got to commend them for that. He's fought in Usyk and all kinds of people, but you know, they just don't give that type of boxer anymore. It's more, you protect these people. You try to play fake it with you make till you make it with, again, smoke and mirrors. opportunistic matchmaking and things like that. And people, because they haven't experienced like real fighting, like HBO championship fighting consistently gave you quality matchups, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And these people, even on cable channels, were providing very good viewership and things like that. It was holding it up for the longest time. Then they started to trickle down on quality as well, and they started putting fights on pay-per-view that shouldn't have been put on pay-per-view. They start hyping up guys who were nobodies, you know, overrating them, and it kind of led to their demise. But you see these companies like PBC, DAZN, all of them, they really don't get nothing back for their investment, and they have to do like these weirdo, you know, like get an app and you got to pay for a membership. And you see companies like DAZN, they keep raising their price on the membership, although the quality of fights and the product that they give you is really not worth it, to be quite honest with you. And on top of that, they still charge you pay-per-view for a lot of these fights. Again, for these guys to be in with sacrificial lambs for the most part. But again, Tank Davis, if he were to fight Shakur Stevenson, I know Shakur Stevenson would mop him up. There's a reason why these guys always give money excuse when they don't want to fight somebody real. You know what I'm saying? Mario Barrios and whoever else, these people that they've had him fight. Even the Gamboa fight where it took him like 11 rounds to knock out you know what I'm saying, injured Gamboa. It's little telltale signs like that that tell you where these guys really are. It's kind of like when Broner fought Maidana. I was one of the few people that was telling everybody that Broner was going to lose, and I caught crap and all that from back then, but it's the same thing. Once they got Broner on a real path against real fighters, against real threats, that was pretty much the beginning of the end for Broner. And it will be no different with Tank Davis. It's just what these guys do today. It's no disrespect. I'm just a guy who likes to call it a spade, dude, and that's rare in today's boxing. You're going to see a lot of channels that are hyping Tank up, claiming that he's an elite fighter, and it's the same crap, you know what I'm saying? This is why we come out with so few boxing videos. Well, part of the reason why we come out with so few boxing videos, few and far in between now, as opposed to just coming out, you know, with a few videos at least a week like we used to. But I just don't, the make-believe is out of control in the sport of boxing, and it shows. Again, you have YouTubers who are more relevant than these star boxers that people claim that they are. Again, even for Canelo, they'll lie about his pay-per-view buys. I'm pretty sure they're gonna hype up a number with this as well. From what I saw and what I did pay attention to, they did do a good job of drumming up the drama and things like that to garner people's interest. But I'm just telling you right now, guys, it's just like any other fighter in today's boxing. They're a product of matchmaking. If he were to fight real ones, you're going to see that he has a hard time. On this channel, we always kept the buck when it came to fighters like Canelo and things like that. You know, if you put Canelo on a level playing field, his so-called proverbial pound-for-pound skill drops drastically. In fact, he's the most effective fighter on a level playing field in the consensus top 10 pound-for-pound. Tank Davis, if he finally starts fighting real fighters, it's going to be the same. You know, his one punch, less than active style, it's not going to translate well. That's why a guy like Isaac Cruz gave him so much trouble. It's kind of similar to how Maidana gave Adrian Broner trouble. You know what I'm saying? You're not fighting anyone with any real special effects. We all knew about Ryan Garcia, unfortunately. I understand that society today pushes people to promote mental illness and things like that. You know, it's like the cool thing to do is to be mentally ill today. And we all got our issues, guys. I definitely understand that aspect. But, you know, these people, they buy into that stuff too, and they create their own crutch. And Ryan Garcia, on top of that aspect, because the mental aspect is actually more of a bigger piece of the puzzle than the physical, to be quite honest with you. A guy like Isaac Cruz does not have the ability that a Ryan Garcia has, does not have the hand speed and the talent. But you saw that he did better than Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia got to the point where he still fights with his chin up and things like that. He relies on just his left hook and things like that. He doesn't really work on the aspects of his game, but this was a pretty easy fight to call. I didn't think Tank was going to dominate as much as he did, but regardless, you're fighting another boardroom fighter who's protected and has relied on opportunistic, careful, selective matchmaking. Again, these guys aren't thrown into the lion's den. Again, it's more of a simulation. It's more of a where you go to a water park and they have a wave pool that simulates waves, but they're not really thrown into the real ocean, you know what I'm saying, where they have to really be tried and tested. And it's always going to stunt a fighter's growth when they're thrown into that. When you baby a fighter too much, you're really stunting their growth more than anything else. And Ryan Garcia, on top of that, plus, you know, his mental issues and his lifestyle, he likes to go out, you know, and, you know, get with women. There's plenty of distractions out there that would cause any man to fall, you know what I'm saying? But maybe this butt whooping will be the best thing for him. That's another thing people don't do today. You offend someone, they'll go out and they'll, you know, rather shoot up a school or something like that than just fight it out or express themselves truly. It's just a different society today, especially amongst teens. There's higher suicide rate and, of course, higher rate of mental illness, you know. Society, that's a whole different topic and everything else today, but that we can talk about in another video. But yeah, I never saw this as a true Oscar, like for this generation, a generation that built up guys like Tekashi 6ix9ine and people like that. This is your guys' Oscar De La Hoya versus Tito Trinidad or some kind of matchup like that. But it doesn't even come close to the quality of those types of matches. You understand, standards and everything else have been watered down. And I'm trying to tell you, Tank Davis, he's just another product of matchmaking, which is what boxing relies on today. They like to hype people up, and hopefully the fake it till you make it works out for them. Again, just like a Broner, they tried the same thing, but Broner went against the grain and told Al Heyman, you know, I want my Donna. And there was a reason why they were trying to have Broner avoid fighters like that. And it's the same reason why Tank, you'll never really see him in a real fight until, you know, till he's basically forced to, and they're going to have to make some kind of money. We've seen this process happen so many times over and over again in this current state of boxing. And again, I would like to see a Shakur fight, but I know that Shakur mops him up. Tank's inactivity, low output style, again, you can do that type of stuff against certain opponents, but again, even an Isaac Cruz fight, we saw what a more active guy who's actually in there to win, how that greatly affects his performance and where he's at as a fighter. Ryan Garcia, again, I knew he was not ready for this fight. Again, when I see people talk about mental issues and things like that, unless you're a Tyson Fury or someone like that, I know something's off. Like a Danny Garcia, for example, he's another guy that really pops up mental illness and things like that, and they think that they're being activists or whatever instead of focusing on the sport of boxing. To me, it's already seeing that you're distracted and things like that. You know, but again, when Tank fights a real one, he will get exposed. You know, they're just moving him like Spence and so many other fighters. Again, this is going to go on for as long as they can, for as long as they can milk, till even the milking money starts running low. Then they're going to have to take real risks, and that's when you're going to see real fights happen. You know, that's all I got to say for now. It's just more of the same old stuff in the sport of boxing. We'll come out with more videos later, guys. Bye.